Just before her passing, Nichelle Nichols finally revealed the discrimination and silent battles she fought while wearing Lieutenant Uhura's red uniform. Her confession shattered the polished myth of Star Trek and exposed pain hidden behind the sparkling view screen. The struggle hiding in plain sight electrified early viewers. When Star Trek first aired in 1966, it promised a future where every culture worked together in daring harmony. Nichelle Nichols, calm yet commanding at the communication station, embodied that dream, yet even her poised smile masked a heavy cost. Television history tilted in one dramatic moment. During an era that boxed black women into cruel stereotypes, Nichols stepped on set as an equal officer, not a servant. Each time Uhura spoke, she cracked open a brighter narrative for countless families glued to their screens. Young hearts thundered with new possibility. Nichols' presence told every child of color that greatness was theirs to claim. She showed that people who looked like them could steer starships, solve crises, and shape tomorrow with steady hands. Whispers of injustice swirled through fandom. For years, fans traded rumors of lines cut, scenes trimmed, and photos where Nichols mysteriously vanished. Her later interviews confirmed the rumors, and the truth proved even harsher than anyone imagined. Courage under crimson light stunned even skeptics. Nichols revealed that some decision-makers kept shrinking Uhura's role despite her flawless performance. She fought back, refusing to let her groundbreaking character fade into background blur. Inspiration rocketed far past the soundstage. Whoopi Goldberg once gasped, "There's a black woman on TV, and she's in space." That lightning bolt moment pushed Goldberg toward her own starry career. Future astronaut Mae Jemison also credited Nichols with sparking her dream of slipping beyond Earth's grip. Yet behind every shining victory lurked icy rejection. Publicity photos often excluded Nichols, and rewrites chopped her dialogue to single words. She felt her hard-won status slide from bold officer to silent prop, and the sting nearly broke her spirit. A deeper dive begins right here. To understand the weight Nichols carried, we must rewind to the roots of her resilience, back to Chicago streets buzzing with jazz, dance shoes, and unstoppable ambition. A victorious maiden rises. Born Grace Dell Nichols on December 28, 1932, in Robbins, Illinois, she soon rejected her given name. Her parents agreed to Nichelle, telling her it meant victorious maiden. Even as a child, she refused to accept limits. Rhythm pulsed through every step. Nichelle studied ballet at 12 and mastered nightclub stages before most teens finish homework. She later toured the nation with Duke Ellington and Lionel Hampton, commanding spotlights with effortless grace. Hollywood could not ignore her spark. In 1959, she danced in Porgy and Bess, then dazzled Hugh Hefner enough for a coveted singing slot at the Chicago Playboy Club. Ebony magazine splashed her on its cover in 1967, confirming her fast-rising fame. Stage after stage bowed to her talent. From Carmen Jones in Chicago to Blues for Mr. Charlie on the West Coast, critics applauded her raw power. Each curtain call sharpened the confidence she would soon need in Hollywood's toughest arena. Gene Roddenberry took notice, but trouble trailed close. Before Star Trek, Nichols guest starred on Roddenberry's earlier show The Lieutenant, tackling racism head-on. That bold appearance planted the seed for Uhura, but also warned her that equality on paper could falter under studio glare. The role that shook prime time nearly slipped away. On the Enterprise, Nichols radiated elegance, expertise, and cool authority. Yet behind the camera, frustration boiled. Lines vanished overnight, and producers sidelined her in tense meetings. Each slight cut deeper than phaser fire. Anger fueled a life-altering decision. After season 1 wrapped, Nichols considered a glittering Broadway offer. Theater had always been her first love, and the stage promised a fresh start free from daily indignity. Quitting felt like leaping into the unknown. She approached creator Gene Roddenberry, resignation in hand, heart pounding. Walking away from television history seemed reckless, but staying while her voice was silenced felt unbearable. Destiny took a stunning twist no viewer saw coming. What Roddenberry said, and who else intervened, would flip Nichols' future upside down. But that revelation belongs to the next explosive chapter. One unexpected weekend nearly rewrote television history forever. Nichelle Nichols had just told Gene Roddenberry she was quitting Star Trek, and he listened without protest. Calmly, he asked her to breathe, enjoy 2 days of peace, then return on Monday if she still felt the same. He promised his full support either way. That promise sent her off to an NAACP banquet, where organizers whisper about a huge admirer eager to meet her. Nichols guessed it would be another wide-eyed Trekkie, yet the ballroom lights revealed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. striding toward her with a radiant smile. He greeted her with warmth and awe, calling Uhura a beacon for Black America. Dr. King explained that her place on the bridge spoke louder than marches or speeches, because it showed Black children a future that already welcomed them. Nichols stood spellbound while he described parents watching with tears, kids dreaming beyond Earth, and families believing progress was possible because of her uniform. His words hit harder than any phaser blast. The moment Dr. King walked away, Nichols knew she could never abandon that mission. Monday morning, she marched back into Roddenberry's office before the coffee finished brewing. Tears shone in his eyes when she repeated Dr. King's praise, and he thanked her for trusting the show enough to stay. Roddenberry had always fought for a bridge free of prejudice, and he kept Nichols in every creative meeting so she could guard Uhura's integrity. His steady backing turned inspiration into action. On screen, Uhura wasn't highlighted as different. She shone because she was brilliant at her job. She cracked codes, routed Starship traffic, and never missed a hail. Proving equality meant competence, not charity. By choosing to remain, Nichols unlocked door after door for future dreamers. Whoopi Goldberg later screamed with joy, "I just saw a Black woman in space, and she isn't cleaning anything." That lightning flash pushed Goldberg all the way to Star Trek, The Next Generation, where Guinan waited with open arms. Mae Jemison, the first Black woman in orbit, traced her own trajectory back to Nichols' calm smile on a tiny living room screen. Nichols turned fantasy into a reachable target. Staying on the bridge became larger than any paycheck. It was her way to light the path for strangers she might never meet. Yet the universe still had more turbulence in store. The next storm exploded with a single kiss. During Plato's Stepchildren, Uhura and Captain Kirk locked lips in prime time, sending shockwaves through television. It was one of the earliest interracial kisses ever broadcast in the United States, and every second dripped with risk. NBC executives nearly fainted at the idea of a Black woman and a white man sharing intimacy during a nation's dinner hour. They demanded alternate takes without the kiss, terrified of angry phone calls. Nichols and William Shatner answered those fears with playful defiance. Between takes, they ruined every safe version, crossing eyes or looking away, forcing editors to keep the daring kiss. When the episode aired on November 22, 1968, suspense crackled across living rooms, but the backlash the network dreaded never arrived. Instead, mailbag stuff with praise landed on NBC's doorstep. Fans celebrated a barrier shattered in living color. One white man from the South even admitted he opposed interracial marriage, yet couldn't deny the power of that brief union. His reluctant respect proved minds were shifting. Though the storyline blamed alien mind control for bringing their lips together, the impact was undeniably human. Two officers of different races shared tenderness without apology, and millions witnessed progress unfold right before the closing credits. That short scene bulldozed another wall in American media. It insisted that love and respect travel faster than old hate. For Nichols, the kiss crowned her ongoing mission to reveal what true equality looks like. She had already smashed stereotypes by playing a skilled officer. Now she showed affection knew no color lines. Decades later, historians still hail the moment as pivotal. Kids who watched that night carry the memory into adulthood, forging a society just a little braver. Nichols often laughed about the backstage chaos, yet she held the scene close to her heart. In under a minute, she and Shatner rewired expectations without shouting slogans, proof that courage sometimes speaks most loudly in silence. She may have left the bridge, but she never left the galaxy. Even after Star Trek ended in 1969, Nichelle Nichols refused to say goodbye to Lieutenant Uhura. Her bond with the franchise stayed alive as she brought Uhura back again, and again in new ways that thrilled fans and made history all over again. She returned to voice Uhura in Star Trek, the animated series, and one standout episode changed everything: the Lorelei Signal. In it, Uhura took command of the entire Enterprise. That one episode delivered the kind of moment Nichols always hoped to play in the original series, but never got. Her love for the role didn't stop there. Nichols played Uhura in 6 Star Trek films, from the motion picture all the way to The Undiscovered Country. That final film gave fans one last chance to see her shine as the iconic communications officer on the big screen. In 1994, she gave fans an even deeper look at her journey in her autobiography Beyond Uhura, Star Trek and Other Memories. Inside, she revealed behind-the-scenes moments from her career, including a surprising opportunity that slipped through her fingers. Nichols shared how, during the final season of Star Trek, she was offered a role in the hit show Mannix, but Gene Roddenberry wouldn't let her break her contract. Though it was a mischance, she didn't let it stop her momentum. Between the original series and its later versions, Nichols kept her career moving forward. She landed small parts in several films, including Doctor, You Gotta Be Kidding, in 1967, and Truck Turner in 1974, where she played a fearless madam opposite Isaac Hayes. It was her only step into the world of blaxploitation films, and she nailed it. Nichols also carved out a place in animation with her powerful voice. She appeared in Futurama, lending her voice to the hilarious Vice Presidential Action Rangers, and later voiced her own Head in a Jar, a funny twist fans adored. She voiced Diane Mazza in Gargoyles, the mother of one of the show's lead characters, and even brought Thoko Pyra to life in Batman, the animated series. Her voice acting range was unmatched. In 2004, she popped up in The Simpsons, played herself in the episode Simple Simpson, and in Snow Dogs, she warmed hearts as Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character's mother. Her performances kept her name alive for fans old and new. In 2006, Nichols stepped into an entirely different world with the indie film Lady Magdalene's. She played the savvy owner of a legal brothel in Nevada, but she didn't just act in it. She also served as executive producer and choreographer, and even wrote and performed 2 of the film's songs. Her theater background stayed strong, too. In Chicago, she was nominated twice for Best Actress at the Sarah Siddons Awards for her work in Kicks and Company and The Blacks. On stage, she was just as commanding as she was in space. Nichols made a return to television with a recurring role on NBC's Heroes, playing Nana Dawson, a fierce grandmother caring for her family in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. It was one of her most grounded roles, filled with real emotion and depth. Even in her later years, Nichols kept working hard. In 2008, she played a psychiatrist in The Torturer, and in 2009, she starred in the musical sci-fi comedy The Cabinets as CJ, a bold boss who could sing, dance, and lead all at once. In 2016, she joined the cast of The Young and the Restless, playing the mother of main character Neil Winters. Her appearance earned her a Daytime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Guest Performer in a Drama Series, a fitting reward for her tireless dedication to the craft. But what was life like behind the camera? Did her co-stars truly embrace her, or was it another battle for respect? Behind every mission on the Enterprise, real bonds were being tested. To Nichols, her time on Star Trek wasn't just about acting. It was about human connection. As one of the first black women in a major television role, every friendship and every fight mattered deeply. Her relationship with William Shatner, who played Captain Kirk, was complicated. They shared history-making scenes like their famous kiss, but their off-screen bond wasn't always easy. There were disagreements, misunderstandings, and tension, but over time, things improved. Nichols later revealed that they eventually made peace. They came to respect each other's work and the historic roles they played in TV history. Healing that rift allowed them to appreciate what they built together. But her connection with Leonard Nimoy Spock himself was something else entirely. They shared a deep, genuine friendship built on trust and mutual respect. Nimoy made sure Nichols felt seen and heard and always stood by her. In tough moments, his kindness gave her strength. As one of the few black women in television with a leading role, Nichols often felt isolated, but with Nimoy nearby, she never felt alone. Another bright light was George Takei, who played Sulu. He brought joy, laughter, and encouragement to the set. Their friendship lasted long after the show ended, carrying over into real life. DeForest Kelley, known as Dr. McCoy, was another steady presence Nichols treasured. His calm, respectful nature helped create balance in a fast-paced and often stressful environment. She trusted him completely. These connections meant everything to Nichols. Not every relationship was smooth, but many were powerful and lasting. Some friendships started slow and grew stronger. Others offered instant comfort. In the end, those bonds helped her survive the weight of being a pioneer and made her legacy even more unforgettable. What secrets did she keep until the very end? Nichelle Nichols didn't just make history on television. She shaped it behind the scenes, too. In her final years, she looked back on her wild, painful, and powerful journey with gratitude and strength. Her voice still inspired, and her smile still carried the same fearless grace that once lit up the bridge of the Enterprise. Nichols often spoke about how thankful she felt for being part of Star Trek. Even though she had doubts at the beginning and faced some serious challenges, she never looked back with regret. She knew her portrayal of Lieutenant Uhura was bigger than TV. It sparked real change in the world. But her journey didn't stop with the show. After Star Trek, she set her sights on the real stars. Nichols became a powerful voice for inclusion in space exploration. She joined forces with NASA to recruit more women and minorities into the program. Her dream? A space program that looked like everyone. Her mission was clear: make sure the future wasn't just for a select few. And it worked. Big time. Because of her efforts, people like Dr. Sally Ride and Colonel Guyon Bluford joined NASA's ranks. So did Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, Charles Bolden, Frederick Gregory, and Lori Garver. All of them made their mark, and Nichols played a key part in opening that door. But she didn't just support them from the sidelines. She stayed active in space herself. She served on advisory boards, helped run outreach programs, and even flew on a NASA mission in 2015 that observed Mars and Saturn from the edge of Earth's atmosphere. Her life was still reaching beyond the stars. Even as she got older, her spirit stayed young. When she met fans, she welcomed them with warmth and joy. Her words were always full of hope, reminding people to dream big and believe in themselves. And of course, she never stopped sharing her musical gifts. Nichols sang in multiple Star Trek episodes, showcasing her gorgeous voice. Later, she released 2 albums, one with timeless classics and another inspired by space and science. Both proved she was much more than just an actress. In her final interviews, Nichols focused on unity and moving forward. She admitted the journey had been hard, but it had also been worth it. Her work opened hearts, changed minds, and created a path for others to follow. The documentary Woman in Motion tells this powerful story of how one woman helped revolutionize space itself. But there were secrets she kept tucked deep in her heart. In her autobiography, Nichols revealed a private romance with Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. They dated in the early 1960s, before the show even began. But when she found out he was also seeing Majel Hudeck, who later became Majel Barrett, Nichols ended things. Majel would go on to marry Roddenberry and play Nurse Chapel on Star Trek. Even after their breakup, Nichols held a place of respect for him. When Roddenberry's health declined years later, she helped write a song called Gene and performed it at his memorial service, an emotional tribute to the man who helped launch her career. Nichols also revealed a short but passionate romance with legendary singer Sammy Davis Jr. in 1959. It didn't last long, but it left a deep mark on her heart. She was married twice. Her first husband, dancer Foster Johnson, married her in 1951. They had a son, Kyle, but divorced the same year. In 1968, she married Duke Mondi. That marriage ended in 1972, but her personal life held more sorrow than just heartbreak. Her brother, Thomas, was a member of the Heaven's Gate cult and tragically died in the group's mass suicide in 1997. The cult timed their deaths with the arrival of Comet Hale. Bop. In group writings, Thomas mentioned being related to Nichelle, adding another painful chapter to her life story. Still, there were bright moments, too. One unforgettable day came on February 29, 2012, when she visited the White House and met President Barack Obama. He smiled and admitted to her, "I had a crush on you." He also said he was a lifelong Star Trek fan. That moment lit her up and reminded her just how far influence had reached. But the final years weren't easy. In June 2015, Nichols suffered a minor stroke at her Los Angeles home. She was rushed to the hospital, and doctors confirmed a small stroke had occurred. She started therapy and began to recover. But it was the beginning of a much harder chapter. In early 2018, her family revealed she had been diagnosed with dementia. The news devastated her fans. Soon after, Nichols stepped back from the spotlight. It was a painful decision for someone who had always stayed close to her audience. At the same time, another storm was brewing. Her manager, who had also taken over caregiving duties, was accused of having too much control over her life. Concerned, her son Kyle Johnson filed for conservatorship in 2018 to take over her care and protect her interests. Before the court made its decision in 2019, a friend named Angelique Fawcett raised red flags. She said she had trouble visiting Nichols and believed something wasn't right. She even opposed a conservatorship to continue seeing her. Meanwhile, the manager who had been removed filed a lawsuit after being asked to leave the guest house on Nichols' property. As of August 2021, parts of that legal fight still hadn't been settled. Then came the moment no one was ready for. On July 30th, 2022, Nichelle Nichols passed away in Silver City, New Mexico, from heart failure. She was 89 years old. In a fitting tribute to her life among the stars, her ashes were launched into deep space, alongside those of Majel Barrett and filmmaker Douglas Trumbull. It was a final journey worthy of a space legend.